Hello everybody and welcome back to our next instalment of thinking about information, advice and guidance about how you get to university, specifically aimed at pupils aged 8 to 13. We are going to be carrying on today thinking about what subject you would like to study at university, and we're thinking about putting it all together today to make a recipe for success for your futures. We have a few session aims today. We're going to consider your favourite subjects to potentially study at university in the future, and we're going to have a start of planning your recipe for success. So as I said, we're going to really build on what you looked at last week, where you were looking at what subjects you might want to study. You did some quizzes to help you think more about the subjects that would suit you and your goals specifically, and we are then going to put it all together to think about how we might apply for university in the future. Last week we set you the research task to find out about different subjects that you didn't know you could study at university. So these might be ones you've never heard of before, or they might have been ones that were different to what you can study at school now. So different to geography, history, maths, maybe art as well that you already study at school. And these are a couple of examples that we gave you. So aerospace engineering at the University of Sheffield, and dance and contemporary circus at the University of Derby. I had certainly never heard of these sorts of subjects until I was much older and thinking about going to university myself. What I'd like is for you to have your list in front of you for today's session. Hopefully you were able to find out about lots of really interesting and cool new subjects that you could study at university. You obviously don't have to study any of those subjects, but maybe you found something that you are interested in for the future. I've put a list of a couple more that I thought were really interesting. One that I found was law, a subject that not many people can do at school, but lots of people go on to study at a university. I found this one specifically at Swansea University, but there are lots of different universities that offer law as a degree. Archaeology and anthropology at the University of Oxford, two very new subjects to start studying at university. Archaeology is the study of artefacts and different things discovered that help us to understand human behaviour a bit more, and anthropology is the study of human behaviour. You can study veterinary science at the University of Liverpool. So this is for those people interested in potentially becoming a vet or working with animals. And another really popular course is sports science. This is available at lots of different universities. I discovered it at the University of Edinburgh when I was doing my research. Hopefully you also had a think about this final column, thinking about if you would like to study it or not. Again, lots of ideas are open at the moment. We'll try and put our ideas together a bit more in a moment, but I really hope that you found this research task useful in thinking about different things that are available at university that you might not have realised previously. So last week we learned lots of things about different subjects that you can study at university. We are going to try now to put that into practice and think about how we can make your future. So one of the main reasons why individuals choose to go to university is to open new doors for the future. We spoke a little bit already a few weeks ago about how not everybody goes to university and it's not suitable for everybody, but one of the main reasons people do is to help with their career. So in some cases, you have to go to university in order to do a certain career. This might be something like medicine, to become a doctor or work in nursing. This might be in a field of science, to have a particular qualification to be able to do the science and research that is required. So having a think about our careers for the future can be really useful in helping us to narrow down what it is that we want to study at university to make sure we have what we need to do that. It's a little bit like thinking about what meal to cook in the kitchen. So before we can start making a recipe, we've got to think about what it is that we actually want to make, or what it is that you want to be in this case. And we're going to have a look at those ingredients you might need in a little bit. Our first task today is going to be to think and write down some ideas that you may have for your future career. So some of you may know exactly what it is you want to do and just need to write that one example down, but some of you might have lots of different things that you're interested in and think you might do in the future. So write those down as well. I'd like you to take a piece of paper, anything that you can write on, and you're going to spend a few moments just popping those ideas down and making sure you've got a real clear thought in your mind as to what it is that you might do. If you don't have a particular career in mind, that's absolutely fine. Instead, focus on subjects you might study. So this might be some of the subjects that you found at the start in your research task that you didn't know about before and are now really interested in. Or it could just be some subjects you study at school that you really enjoy and you can imagine yourself carrying on with those in the future. Make sure you've got that piece of paper. What I'd like you to do is just to pause this video here, and then when you're ready, come back and start the video again. Being a university student is not just about being really good at school, but it's about being really interested in what it is you want to study. If you're not interested in it, then you're probably going to get bored a little bit too quickly and maybe not continue with the subject the whole way. So these are just some examples of the sorts of things that people interested in certain careers might want to do to show their interest. So for example, if you're interested in becoming a journalist, someone who writes for newspapers or magazines, you might be interested in reading, in doing book clubs at school, or maybe even blogging online when you are old enough. So somebody who wants to write and likes to read as well. On the other hand, somebody who might want to be a physicist would be looking at doing science clubs, maybe visiting museums, potentially volunteering there as well to show why they're interested. You don't have to match all of these, but these are just some ideas that to get you started thinking about what it is that you can show that means you're interested in these things and why that would help you to get there in the future. So if you want to, do feel free to pause this. If any of these careers in particular were what you'd written down already, then see if you can tick any of those off or think about how you might be able to join any of these things that show your interests in the future. We have spent time thinking about what career or subject you would like to do in the future, as well as thinking about your interests a little bit. We are now going to put all that together, as well as with some other things, to think about why you would be so great at that subject or career. We're basically going to put together the ingredients for our recipe for success. So when you apply to university, you have to write a personal statement explaining why you would be a great student. We are going to do something quite similar. So for this, I need you to go back to your list of possible careers or subjects and pick one of them. So it could be the specific career you've got in mind or just one of them. Do not worry. It's just so that we can have a practice of these personal statements. We're going to look at the skills, academic subjects, characteristics, secret ingredients, and interests that you would need to do this. I'm going to show you an example of the sorts of things that you might write down. Do not worry if it's a little bit confusing. I appreciate you might not know everything that you need to about your subject just yet. You can go away and do some extra research or just do as much as you can now, and I'm sure you'll be able to add to it in the future. So our example, if I was going to study medicine, there are a few things that I might need to do that. So think about a doctor that you may have been to see before. Maybe you've talked about it at school, about what it means to be a doctor who studied medicine. I'm going to write down what skills, characteristics, and so on that I think would make me a great candidate to study medicine. So my skills: good at talking to people, having an eye for detail, and being a good problem solver. I think that would be a really good set of skills to have to study medicine. My academic subjects: I've done English, maths and science at school, so I've got the right subjects to do well at medicine as well. Obviously, it's very important to be good at things like biology and chemistry in order to study medicine. My characteristics: so that's thinking about who I am as a person. So being friendly and kind so that you can make your patients feel much better about a situation they might be in. Being determined, so making sure that I get the best out of everything. And being passionate about helping people as well. Obviously, being a doctor, a lot of that is about helping other people in their lives. So those are some important characteristics, I think. Some secret ingredients: so these are the sorts of things that aren't just about what you do at school, but maybe something extra that makes you stand out. So maybe it's work experience at a hospital when you're older, maybe you're thinking about things like that already, or reading lots of books about medicine. Having an interest in the subject is really important, which leads us on to our actual interests. So we don't have to have a really long list yet. You might become more familiar with your interests related to a topic as you get older. But one of the things would just be really love learning about medicine and different ways to treat people. So we don't want to study a subject when we're older that we don't enjoy. We want to make sure that we really enjoy it so that we carry on with it and find enjoyment from it as we go through our lives, because that's sort of where it takes us to, isn't it, the rest of our lives. So as I said, I want you to pause this video now and have a go at doing that yourself. Using the examples that you have just written down, we are going to have a go at putting it all together. I'm going to give you some sentence starters to help you create that personal statement that we write to explain to universities why we think that we would make a great university student. So using that career or subject that you've just explained your skills, characteristics and interests for, what I'd like you to do is to take these sentence starters that I'm going to show you and to mould them and create your perfect personal statement. So we're going to start with what it is you'd like to study and why that is. I really like this subject because I have lots of skills needed to study this subject, such as, and these would make me good at this subject because I study something at school which will help me with this subject. I am, so an extra thing, so that's where you could list your characteristics, and as well as all of this, so something additional that maybe makes you stand out, so something not necessarily academic, but it could be interests you have outside of school, something you're really good at, could be sport, music, anything like that. I'm going to show you an example again to get you started on the next page before you get started yourselves. I've done my example based on the medicine example that I used before for listing my skills and the other ingredients that I need for my personal statement. I'm just going to read those to you now so you can use them to help you when you do yours. I would like to study medicine when I'm older because I want to become a doctor. I really like this subject because I enjoy helping people as well as learning about the body. I have lots of skills needed to study medicine, such as good communication skills, as well as solving problems. I'm very interested in becoming a doctor in the future, and I read lots of books on medicine. As well as all of this, I am kind and friendly, which would make me an excellent doctor. So I'm trying to list not just my skills, but my interests and who I am as a person to make it really clear why I'd be good at studying medicine. If you've selected a career rather than a subject, just need to change some of the wording around. So in the second bullet point, you could say, I really like this career because, and fill that in. I have lots of skills needed to be this career, and so on. So just change that around as you need to. I'm going to show you on the next slides the examples again, so you can pause them when you need to and use them to create your own on your own pieces of paper at home. Pause the video here to write your personal statement down, and then when you're ready, click back onto the video and start again. How did you do? I assume that you have now written your paragraph, your personal statement, explaining why you would be great at university. Hopefully you listed some of the skills, the interests you have, and maybe even expanded on those short sentence starters I gave you to make a big full paragraph explaining exactly why you would be fantastic at university. Well done for completing that, and I hope you found it useful and maybe even came up with some new skills and interests that you hadn't already written down. Now, it would be great if you could share your paragraph with someone at home. Try to persuade them that you would be a great candidate based on what you've written. Check with them, did you manage to persuade them, or do they think there's anything else you could write? And then, are there any other skills that you could add that would just make your statement a little bit better, thinking about what it is that you can already do? This is something that most students do not do until they are about 17 or 18. So you've done fantastically well to start this sort of task already. So well done to each and every one of you. We are just going to spend a moment now doing some quick reflections about what it is that you have gained from this session. I hope you found it useful, and it's really important to note that most pupils won't have a go at writing a personal statement until they are much older, maybe 17 or 18. So for you to have that practice already is fantastic, and really well done again for managing to do that. It's really key to make sure that you keep researching different subjects and careers in the future. You might find something you have never thought about before, and a new subject that you've just discovered that really interests you. It might be that when you eventually do go to university, there's some completely new subjects that don't even exist right now. So it's really important to keep researching and finding out different things as you get older and as your interests change. You can change your mind many times over the coming months and years. You've got plenty of time to think about all these things such as subjects and careers. That's why it's important to keep researching, again, so that you can find new things that you might not have heard about or found out yet. But just be assured that whatever you've decided to do now doesn't have to be what you have to do in the future. I want to just finish by saying that you already have lots of really good skills that would make you a great university student if that is what you want to do in the future. So just keep practicing those skills, and when you do decide that it's the right time to go to university, then I'm sure you'll be fantastic at it, and use this personal statement that you've written now to sell yourself to that university. That brings us to the end of this video now. I hope you found that all useful, and of course if you do want to change your mind, make sure you keep doing those quizzes, those research tasks that we've set already over the last few videos. Go back to them, try them again, and you might find something new. We will see you soon. Bye.